3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to the Mission Employable podcast, where we're talking about all things workforce and opportunity here in Iowa. I'm Ben Oldak, your host for today's show, joined as always by Kathy Leggett. Kathy, how's it going?
It's going great, Ben.
Excellent. Well, we've got a special episode all about the Iowa State Fair, the biggest event in the state, brings people from all over the country in. And sure, the State Fair is a great time for fun and food and entertainment and rides and music, but it's also a great time for our workforce team to meet face-to-face with Iowans. And here on the show with us today is the big boss herself, Director Beth Townsend, who is an all-time fan of the Iowa State Fair. So we know that she's excited to talk with us today. Welcome to the show, Director.
I am. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Kathy. Great to be here, and I love to talk about the State Fair.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the fair this year?
I am at a 12 this year. Because I feel like we're truly post-pandemic. We're actually back to the way the fair was before the pandemic, and we've moved on from all of that. It's a great time for Iowans to stop by our booth and talk to us about all of the great jobs we still have open in Iowa. And so I'm off the scales excited.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, we're at the fair every year. Why is it so important for us to be at the fair at Iowa Workforce Development, and why we make it a priority here to have a presence there?
Well, we make it a priority because I have always believed that it is important that people meet and speak with the folks who work at Iowa Workforce Development, because it's really easy to parody a government agency as just your typical bureaucracy, and the staff are just putting in their time and nobody cares, and that could not be more further from the truth. And when you meet the staff at IWD, you see what I see every day, which is how professional, how committed, how caring and charismatic folks are. So I really love the opportunity for the folks to meet people that work at IWD so they can see that too.
Great. And so I think that is a thing that we wanted to get out with this podcast is tell people, stop by. You don't have to have a need. You don't have to have, but just stop by. And as you said, learn about what's happening in Iowa as far as all the jobs we have available, all the high demand occupations. Ask questions. If you have teens, great place to get them connected to help with their future work. So please stop by and see us. So can you talk a little bit about who is going to be volunteering at the booth? We know, we have business engagement, veterans, so they could see a number of different roles. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have staff from all over IWD who work in all facets of our programs. So this year we've added the vocational rehabilitation team. So we're going to have some voc rehab team members who are going to be helping out at the booth, which I think will bring a presence and an element to our booth we haven't had, and we're very excited about that. We have staff from our unemployment insurance division. We have people who work in the American Job Centers. We have a lot of veterans because we are big supporters of veterans. We hire a lot of veterans. We have Home Base Iowa to recruit more veterans to the state. If you're at the State Fair on Monday for Veterans Day, please stop by the booth. And if you're a veteran, we have a challenge coin for you, collectible. So we're excited. They can meet a variety of folks that work at IWD.
Yeah. One thing that I kind of wanted to talk about for sure on this episode was the inclusion of IVRS into IWD. For those who don't know, we just went through a big government realignment where we had several kind of departments that are being put under the umbrella of other departments. And I kind of wanted to talk about what IVRS is going to bring now that they're under the IWD umbrella.
So aligning vocational rehabilitation with an Iowa Workforce Development, I believe, is going to, number one, assist IWD in how we help individuals who have a disability who are looking for work. So it's going to help our teams be better prepared and more responsive into helping those individuals who come in for assistance to our American Job Centers. It's going to help vocational rehabilitation by doing a better job of connecting the workforce and connecting employers with the individuals that they're trying to help, because they're helping Iowans with a disability find a job and that's going to work for them within the parameters that they're working within. And so connecting them with employers who are interested in hiring individuals. And frankly, Iowa employers are just looking for good workers. And often what you'll find is Iowans with a disability are some of your most committed, hardworking, dependable, and reliable employees. And so we want to make sure that we strengthen those connections and commitments between the two groups.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I saw that IVRS does is they help people with disabilities who want to become entrepreneurs as well.
Yes.
And they've got all kinds of really interesting programs that I think are going to make us better, that we're going to make them better, and it's going to be a really nice symbiotic relationship.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. In fact, we joined on July 1st, and I'm just super excited by the opportunities that we have, both within IWD and also within vocational rehabilitation. I mean, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to help people and to help employers find jobs and find workers. And so why wouldn't we be together?
Speaking of that, I just want to throw out this thought too, because we're encouraging people to stop by. I want to say a special mention to those people who are employers or who work in human resources or anything in businesses. If you haven't connected with IWD, stop by, because you can start that connection now, right?
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity to meet someone. And even if it's not someone who works in your area, they can get you connected with the office that does, or they can get you connected with individuals who could answer your questions and provide the assistance.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us into our next question is like, what can fairgoers expect when they come to our booth? What can they expect to see and receive and all those things?
Well, first of all, and if you're going to have a successful booth at the Iowa State Fair, you got to have the swag. So if you want some good swag, you got to come by Iowa Workforce Development, because we always try to give away things that we think people will be interested in, particularly children, because we know if we can get the children in, we can get the adults in. So we have a Future Ready Iowa chalkboard that we put up every year, and we invite children to write what they want to be when they grow up on the chalkboard. It's a really fun event. We have to, we love seeing that. We also this year, in honor of the Iowa Women's Hawkeyes basketball team and their run to the national championship, which I got totally stolen from, but we are giving out Nerf basketballs this year. Normally, we've given out footballs in the past, and we're not forgetting our UNI Panthers or our Iowa State Cyclones. So we have basketballs in the shape of Iowa Hawkeye, Cyclones, and Panther colors. So stop by and get your basketballs. We do have some swag for the adults as well. So stop by and say hello. We've got something for you.
That's great. Speaking of the chalkboard, what are are there some memorable things that kids have written on there that they want to be? Or is there anything that hits you like, oh my gosh, this was a great one, or just a surprise?
I think, well, for someone who's as old as I am, to see a lot of kids write down that they want to be YouTubers. At first, when I saw that, I didn't know what that meant. But now I see, you can make a living being an influencer on YouTube. It's a pretty select few that are going to be able to do it as make a living. But that doesn't mean that you can't create social content or learn how to utilize social platforms in a way that you can monetize and be creative and do what you want to do. So I think that's been interesting and eye-opening for those of us who are not from anywhere close to this generation. But I love what I also see is you see a lot of kids who write down farmers or who want to be police officers or nurses or teachers. And so to see kids that are still interested in doing those kind of jobs makes me feel good and makes me feel good about the future of the state, because we're going to need folks like that. Firemen, a lot of kids want to be firemen, so it's really interesting. So even if you don't have a kid, it's great to come by and read what's on the board.
I think I saw a 10-year-old write retired once, and that cracked me up. It was fantastic. But no,
he's really thinking ahead.
Yeah, really. But no, you bring up a good point about the YouTubers and the video game streamers that you see up on the chalkboard. And you see those kind of with the pro athletes and stuff as well. And I think that's interesting that you mentioned that, because it has become a viable industry, and even if you don't become one of these top end streamers or YouTube stars or an influencer on Instagram or something, there is skills in that you have to learn in order to be successful at the next level. Because let's face it, everybody in the world is doing social media, they're doing streaming content, they're doing social content, and to be able to develop those skills for fun in your personal life while maybe making a little extra money on the side is an awesome thing to try to do.
Well, and it's a really good reminder, and we say this to ourselves all the time, but I don't know that we ingrain it as well as we should into our programming. The jobs that the kids that are writing on those boards are going to have are probably not even existing. So you wouldn't have thought 10 years ago, YouTuber, you wouldn't even know what that was. Now it's a good reminder that the jobs that we're educating our children for may not exist, but we need to keep an open mind. We need to always be looking at the skills that we're teaching and the programs we're developing to make sure that we're matching what's available in the marketplace and what the needs of employers are.
Yeah, exactly. So one other specific topic to hit on is that the State Fair always hosts a Veterans Day, and you mentioned it a little bit before, but how is our team involved in the festivities and everything that happens on that day?
So our team of veterans is going to be walking in the Veterans Day parades. We're very excited about that. We'll be handing out challenge coins during the parade to or try to hit as many people as we can, walking down the Grand Marchway or the Grand, whatever it's called, I can't remember, but so interacting with the veterans during the parade. We're excited about that. Our staff who are veterans really love what they do in terms of being able to help other veterans succeed in Iowa, help them find those jobs and their next career. We're very, very committed to that. And so the parade is a great reminder of why we do what we do. And it also helps us reconnect with our brothers and sisters in arms.
Yeah.
So a quick question. What's a challenge coin?
So a challenge coin is it's a coin that's probably the size of a $50, I would say. And in the military, it is usually each squadron or each battalion or each even office may have their own coin. And it used to be back in the day, especially when I was on active duty, where each squadron member was required to keep a coin in their pocket. And when you went to the O Club at night for drinks after work, they would say, "Do you got your coin?" And if you didn't pull it out, you had to buy the bar. So you were challenged. Oh. Now, that may not be the only challenge that you were faced with, but it was a good way to make sure that the people that were within your group are carrying the memorabilia that remind you of the squadron that you're in.
Oh, that's really cool. No, thanks. That's awesome.
And it's also something that they'll give out to other folks as well. Like, do they trade? And, there's certainly...
Well, it's really become a big thing. So that the challenge coin, probably, I don't know when it started, but when I became aware of it was in the 90s when I was stationed at a fighter base, and all the fighter pilots had their challenge coin, and then that kind of expanded, and now it's across all the military. You see a lot of military affiliated organizations who have coins.
Okay.
A lot of politicians now have adopted it. And hand out coins to military members. It's something you can collect. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I didn't know that. So thanks for sharing that. Okay. Just as we transition again here, but I just want to say again, I think it's great that we employ so many veterans and that they're there to help veterans. And so I just want to encourage, if you're a veteran, if you're a spouse of a veteran, we are here for you. And I see it. I am not, but I see it firsthand with all the colleagues I work with. So I just want to highlight that point again. And so then where is our booth located? Where can everybody find us?
So we're in the Varied Industries building. So we are in where it's cooler, which is always a good opportunity to come in.
Thank
get
you.
Your chocolate chip cookies, grab a Coke.
Yes.
Take your bag around and get some freebies and swag from other booths. But we are on, I don't even know. I think we're booth 109 to 111. Yes.
Yes.
And so it's basically when you come in the door, and I don't know direction. I'm pretty directionally challenged, so I can't tell you which door it is. But we're just off of the door. We're usually right next to the VFW.
Okay.
And we're right across the aisle from a booth that's generally selling mattresses.
Yeah.
Okay.
North side of the building, I believe.
There you go.
Okay. And
Very
look
good.
for the chalkboard.
and look for the chalkboard in the
Yes.
crowd, we hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like every year at the fair is slightly different. I mean, we went through the pandemic years where we really had to focus on remote jobs and things of that nature. And this year we've got IVRS coming on board. What do you hope that Iowans take away from visiting our booth this year in particular?
I hope they meet one of their fellow Iowans that's there to serve them. That's what I hope. That would be my goal, just to stop by. And I think that would alleviate any concerns or anxieties you have about working with a government agency. We truly mean it when we say we're here to serve Iowans. That's all we do. We don't know how to do anything else but to help our fellow Iowans, whether that's finding a workforce if you're an employer, whether that's finding a training program or a job if you're an Iowan. If you have a disability, we're here to help you navigate the vocational rehabilitation system and get the resources you need so that you can learn the skills that you need to find the job and be able to achieve your goals, whatever they may be. So that's what I want you to really, I really hope Iowans do, is just come by and meet your fellow Iowans that happen to work at Iowa Workforce Development.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah. And lastly, the most important question: what is the fair food you are looking forward to most?
So my favorite fair food is the Amish stand that sells the homemade cinnamon rolls in the varied industry buildings. I always go by, get my loaves of bread and my cinnamon rolls from the Amish stand there in the varied industries building. My favorite food, hands down.
So good.
How about you, Ben?
Oh man, food?
Yes.
I maybe have like one corn dog a year, and it's usually at the Iowa State Fair. Like, keep it classic. It's hard to beat. I've tried branching out to some of like the fried Snickers because it's like, why not? And those are tough on a hot day, man. Let me tell you.
And essentially fried means it's basically a Snickers. It's a corn dog with a Snickers in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Interesting.
Close enough.
I don't know about that.
So here's this is. I have to talk about my daughter's favorite food because this was, and were years. It's corn dog. She would wait the whole year, and there are years literally. I think people will think I'm crazy, but I would buy her ticket, drive up, and drop her off at the gate. She'd go in, get her corn dog. I'd drive around. I'd come back and pick her up because she wanted that corn dog so bad. But then apparently that corn dog stand isn't here anymore. So, yeah.
I'm sure there are other
I'm sure there are others.
I'm sure
But
Jim
yes,
will be able to find
definitely
her.
corn dogs.
Yeah,
so.
no shortage of corn dogs at the Iowa State Fair.
Yes,
Get some swag and says hello.
exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Director, thank you so much for stopping by the podcast. Thank you for not canceling us yet. That's been good. We like doing this show.
As I was telling you before we got on the mic, I think you guys do a great job. You're a great team. You sound like you've been doing this forever.
Well, we really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to the Iowa State Fair, of course, and obviously looking forward to seeing you stop by the booth whenever you get a chance to.
Yep. Come to the fair.
Come to the fair. We'll see you there.
Yes.
Awesome.